Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom, the show where we look at health from the inside out, quite literally. I'm Ethan, your resident collector of curious facts, keen observations, and more than a few wrinkles on the forehead. Some say I see the world through a microscope with a dry sense of humor attached.
And I'm Alara, the overly talkative voice of reason who can't resist sharing a research study or two before breakfast. I like to think of myself as the comedic translator for all things natural health. Welcome to our humble corner of the podcast universe, folks.
Today's topic, depression and its sneaky ability to speed up physical illness. According to Dr. Mercola and other researchers, depression isn't just a mental health hiccup. It actually ushers in chronic diseases faster than you'd like to believe. That's a plot twist worthy of a real-life drama.
Absolutely. It's like depression is the pushy older cousin that invites heart disease, arthritis, or diabetes to the party years earlier than scheduled. Not content with affecting your mood, it grabs every opportunity to give you a physical health downgrade.
Which is rude. You'd think it would stay in its lane and stick to low mood and maybe an existential crisis here and there. But no, depression apparently has a well-rounded skill set. Stress, inflammation, and even messing with your gut. It's impressive in the worst possible way.
Indeed it is. And the science is pretty clear. When you're chronically stressed, your body goes into inflammatory overdrive. Cortisol levels spike, your immune system decides to take extended coffee breaks, and the next thing you know, you're dealing with high blood pressure or metabolic issues on top of everything else.
Let's start with the basics. A recent study showed that depression basically speeds up the timeline for diseases like diabetes, arthritis, and heart conditions. Instead of these conditions strolling in during the twilight of your years, they barge through the door in your 40s or 50s, asking why you're not ready to greet them.
There's nothing like the gift of chronic illness decades too early. It's the worst kind of surprise party. And what's fascinating is that researchers found people with depression were more likely to have at least one chronic illness from the start, then rack up additional conditions in a shorter period.
Depression has a knack for collecting new diagnoses. And if you already have a chronic condition, guess what? That condition may progress faster if you're depressed. It's like having the gas pedal stuck on a downward slope.
Also, let's not forget the heart. Depression and heart disease are like a dysfunctional couple who can't stand each other yet go everywhere together. Depression leads to chronic stress. Chronic stress leads to cortisol overload, which leads to stiff arteries and high blood pressure. Then your heart needs hospital visits. The cycle can become never-ending if it's not addressed.
The data show that people with depression are more likely to be hospitalized for everything from cardiovascular issues to endocrine disorders. It's as though depression doesn't want you to miss any part of the hospital experience. Why limit yourself to just one wing of the building?
As if a day at the hospital is everyone's dream getaway. And let's add infection risk to the list. Apparently, chronic stress and depression weaken your immune defenses, so you're far more likely to pick up infections that land you in the hospital, which only piles on more stress. It's a brilliant, yet horrifying feedback loop.
The comedic side of me wants to say that if depression were a friend, you'd remove it from your phone contacts. It shows up uninvited, invites more trouble, and leaves you with a check.
Precisely. Meanwhile, there's also this vicious cycle aspect we should highlight. Chronic illness can lead to depression, and depression can exacerbate chronic illness. Before you know it, you're swirling in a whirlpool of mental and physical problems, each fueling the other. If it weren't so tragic, it'd be almost poetic.
And that swirl is partly explained by persistent inflammation. Depression often triggers the release of inflammatory cytokines. These cytokines disrupt your body's natural repair mechanisms, hamper immune responses, and basically wave a welcome sign for disease. There's a reason the term inflammatory storm sounds so dramatic. It's because it is dramatic.
Think of it like sprinkling salt on a wound, except the salt is in your bloodstream, your tissues, your organs. It's everywhere courtesy of these inflammatory signals.
Let's talk about the gut for a moment, because if depression and the immune system weren't enough, apparently our beneficial gut bacteria jump into this storyline too. Depression is notorious for messing up your gut microbiome.
If your gut bugs get out of whack, harmful bacteria can start producing toxins. These toxins can then poke little holes in your intestinal lining, leading to increased inflammation. That, in turn, aggravates the mental health side. In short, your microbiome can act like a chatty neighbor, spreading gossip that inflames the whole neighborhood.
Which begs the question, can we fix the root issues or do we just keep patching them up with bandages? According to Dr. Mercola's perspective, there are a few strategies for breaking the cycle, as he puts it.
Exactly. Since we're talking cellular wisdom, You need to address sun exposure, gut-friendly foods, stress management, sleep, and mitochondrial support. These aren't random bullet points. They're basically the foundation for pulling your body out of that loop of doom.
Let's start with sun exposure. We get it. The sun can be a double-edged sword, especially if you're drowning in seed oils that can oxidize in your tissues. But our bodies do need natural sunlight to optimize vitamin D, regulate hormones, and keep our circadian rhythms from going haywire.
You'd be surprised how many folks think they can function without any sunlight. They're inside 24/7, feeding their brains with the glow of digital screens, and then they wonder why they're depressed and physically unwell. Trust me, folks, get outside. It's free, and your mitochondria will thank you.
By the way, if you're still indulging in a steady stream of vegetable oils, Dr. Mercola suggests avoiding the peak sun hours until you've minimized those oils in your diet. Mitochondria, like toddlers, can be fussy with what you feed them, and seed oils can intensify inflammation under UV light.
Next up is everyone's favorite dinner conversation: gut microbes, specifically beneficial ones like Akkermansia mucinifila. This friendly bacterium helps shore up your gut lining and prevents harmful invaders from crossing into your bloodstream and wreaking havoc.
Time to enjoy some fermented foods, maybe some resistant starches from green bananas or cooled potatoes. And please, feed your healthy microbes the kind of diet that encourages them to stick around. If your microbiome were a roommate, you'd want to keep it happy, not drive it away.
Precisely. Then there's sleep, something I personally value more than gold. If you're not hitting those deep sleep stages, you can't properly repair. Depression often pairs with poor sleep, so you have to tackle that problem head on.
We've all had those nights when we toss and turn, only to wake up feeling like a soggy piece of toast. That's a red flag your body's out of sync. In the context of depression, it only accelerates inflammation, weakens immunity further, and opens the door to metabolic disasters.
So do the basics. Reduce screen time before bed, keep your room dark, and aim for that sweet spot of 7 to 9 hours. Again, no fancy gadgets needed. Just give your body the environment it's biologically adapted for: darkness at night, light in the morning, and a stable schedule.
Stress management also makes the list. Surprise, surprise. Chronic stress floods your system with cortisol, which effectively orders your body to store fat, spike your blood sugar, and churn out more inflammatory chemicals. It's the worst special offer ever.
Indeed. And ironically, the best solutions are often free or inexpensive. Breathwork, meditation, or spending time in nature can be game changers. Even a simple walk outdoors is enough to reset your stress response.
Let's not forget the emotional freedom techniques, which Dr. Mercola often recommends. In my mind, it's like giving your stress a polite but firm eviction notice. EFT is here, so stress, you gotta pack your bags.
And once you've reduced stress, you'll have the mental clarity to tackle the next piece: supporting your mitochondria. These little energy powerhouses can make or break how you feel both mentally and physically.
We often underestimate how vital mitochondria are. If your cells aren't producing energy efficiently, it's hard to summon the motivation to do anything, let alone fight off diseases. That's where balanced nutrition and moderate movement come in. You don't need a triathlon. A regular walk, some stretching, or basic resistance work can keep mitochondria humming.
Combine that with nutrients like magnesium or niacinamide, and you've got a strong formula for resilience. Throw in cutting back on processed foods, and you've just earned yourself a gold star in mitochondria maintenance.
So, summing it up, depression can be that unwelcome ringleader of an inflammatory circus in your body. It ushers in chronic diseases early, erodes your immune function, and sets you on a trajectory of multiple hospital visits. Not exactly the life goal we want on our vision boards.
But it doesn't have to be that way. This is the optimistic part of our show, folks. The same science that identifies the problem also offers a pretty straightforward solution. Address your gut, get your sunshine, manage your stress, optimize your sleep, and support those ever-important mitochondria.
And the feedback loop can be reversed. If depression is fueling your disease, tackling depression's root causes can slow or even halt disease progression. It's not magic, it's biology. However, it does require consistent effort and a willingness to experiment with lifestyle changes.
Now, before we wrap, let's also highlight one detail. People who have depression can't just snap out of it. This is a real biochemical and emotional state. But the more we understand the physical underpinnings, the better we can address them without shame or stigma. We're talking about a holistic approach, not throwing random ideas at the wall.
Indeed. It's called cellular wisdom for a reason. We're aiming to help people realize that what happens in the mind definitely doesn't stay in the mind. The body and brain are on the same text thread, and depression has everyone reading each other's messages.
I like that analogy. So if your body's group chat is full of stress hormones and inflammatory signals, you can't ignore it. You have to take steps to change the conversation entirely. With a healthy diet, the right kind of movements, quality sleep, and building a supportive community around you. Our key takeaway is that depression is far from just a mood issue. It's a physical disruptor that pushes chronic diseases on an accelerated timeline. Yet there is hope, and that hope lies in addressing the fundamental lifestyle factors.
Precisely. And on that note, we're at the end of today's discussion. If you've enjoyed our banter, you're in good company. If you haven't, well, at least you're now a bit more educated about how depression and chronic diseases are besties with terrible boundaries.
Feel free to share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, if depression is the older cousin that barged in, you can still show it the exit by making some strategic lifestyle changes. You might just need a bit of time and consistent effort.
And with that, I guess we'll wrap up. You've been listening to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom, where we attempt to keep you healthy enough to keep listening. I'm Ethan, your unlicensed observer of all things human condition, signing off with a reminder that your body is a well-wired system. Treat it with respect and watch the difference it makes.
And I'm Alara, happily reminding you that your gut has more to say about your mood than you think. So feed those little critters well. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, may your cells vibrate with health and your sense of humor remain delightfully intact.
We appreciate each and every one of you. Stay curious, stay informed, and remember, you've got more control over your health destiny than you might realize.
Take care, everyone, and keep tuning in to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll be back soon with more insights, research-based banter, and maybe a joke or two that doesn't go over your head.
Goodbye, folks.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.